Alright, let's dive into a major update regarding the Chicago Bears salary cap situation. This is something Bears fans have been watching closely, especially after recent moves and contract extensions. The biggest piece of news revolves around Joe Thuney's contract extension, which adds 2 years on top of his existing deal. This extension is worth $35 million and comes in addition to the final year of his 1-year, $16 million contract. Now that everything is official, we can break down what this means for the Bears' salary cap over the next several seasons. For the current year, the cap hit for Joe Thuney will be about $8 million. This figure had been circulating in leaks, but now it's confirmed by trusted salary cap trackers. Next year, his cap hit jumps significantly to $21.5 million, and that same number applies again for the following season. What's interesting is what happens in 2027. If the Bears want to get out of the contract, maybe because Thuney's performance declines or they decided to trade or cut him, they would only be responsible for $5 million against the cap. This means they could save $16.5 million in cap space if they chose to move on from him at that point. When you look at the contracts of the Bears, 3 starting interior linemen, Joe Thuney, Joda Jackson, and Drew Dolman, you see a clear strategy emerging. All 3 signed 3-year deals starting this season, with options to opt out after 2026. These contracts are structured with minimal dead cap penalties, which means the Bears have a flexibility to cut or trade any of these players with little financial repercussion. This approach allows the team to keep their options open without locking themselves into big dead money charges if things don't work out as planned. All of these contracts also align with Caleb Williams' rookie contract timeline. This is crucial because Williams is the player the Bears are planning to build around at quarterback, and his rookie deal is inexpensive compared to veteran contracts. The idea is to maximize Williams' development under head coach Ben Johnson and get the most out of the offense while keeping the salary cap manageable. By lacking in these key linemen on flexible contracts and focusing resources on developing Williams, the Bears are trying to set themselves up for long-term success at the most important position on the field. Moving on to the current cap space, there is always a slight discrepancy between different salary cap tracking websites, but in this case, the numbers are within about $600,000 of each other. Using Spotrack's figures, the Bears currently have roughly $15,400,000 in cap space to work with. However, this number will decrease once the team signs its 3 second-round draft picks from this year, Loser Burton, Ozzie Trapillo, and Chamar Turner. Burton's cap hit is expected to be just under $2 million, Trapillo's about $1,400,000, and Turner's roughly $1,300,000. After adding those salaries, the Bears' cap space will likely drop to around $10,700,000 for the upcoming season. That's not a huge amount, but it does provide some room to make minor moves if the team wants to. Keep in mind, though, that it's important for teams to carry at least a few $1 million in cap space when entering the regular season. The reason is the practice squad salaries, which are paid weekly and count against the salary cap. Teams can't enter the season with an extremely tight cap number because they need to cover those ongoing expenses and have enough flexibility to respond to injuries or potential trade deadline moves. Most teams aim to have about $5 to $7 million in cap space for these reasons, and the Bears are currently on the higher end of that range, which is a positive sign. With roughly $10 to $11 million left after signing the rookies, the Bears can realistically make 1 or 2 minor signings or trades. Ideally ones that cost $5 to $6 million or less against the cap. Most free agent targets discussed in relation to the Bears would fit into that budget. Players like Cedarius Smith or Jadeveon Clowney might exceed that limit, but there are ways to structure deals to manage cap hits, such as adding void years to contracts. Void years spread out the signing bonus over multiple years to reduce the immediate cap hit, though this approach pushes cap charges into future seasons and is generally less preferred by the Bears' front office. Ryan Poles and his team have shown reluctance to push money down the road with void years so far, preferring clean deals without large deferred cap hits, especially since the Bears are still building toward consistent winning seasons. If the team believes their window to compete really opens this year, they might consider kicking money down the road with void years or restructures, but that seems unlikely unless the team gains confidence in its immediate outlook. Looking at other notable players like Matt Judon, Von Miller, and Preston Smith, their expected cap hits also fall within that $5 to $6 million range, making them plausible fits for the Bears without pushing the cap too far. From the running back perspective, the group the Bears are considering should be relatively affordable as well, generally in the $4 to $6 million range. This keeps the Bears' cap situation manageable and avoids the need to get creative with contract structures. One important angle to consider is the possibility of contract restructures to free up cap space. Restructuring is a common tactic among teams looking to create breathing room in the short term, though it kicks money down the road. The Saints, for example, have used restructures extensively in recent years. If the Bears restructured a contract like DJ Moore's, they could potentially save up to $15,700,000 in cap space this season. Montez Sweat could save about $17,200,000, Hyland Johnson around $9,900,000, and Cole Metcalf $5,900,000. However, not all players are ideal candidates for restructuring. For instance, if Love Jean, a promising rookie, as a strong year, the Bears might prefer to keep Cole Met's contract straightforward rather than restructure it and be stuck with larger future cap hits. Similarly, there is some sense the Bears want to see how DJ Moore responds this season after a down year before making any long-term financial commitments. Hyland Johnson appears to be a player they're comfortable keeping around for several years, which might make him a restructuring candidate to save some cap space now. Overall, if the Bears do restructure anyone, it's likely to be just one player, given the risk involved. Restructuring spreads the cap hit into future years, so if a player underperforms or younger talent emerges, the team might feel stuck with the cap charges on the books. This is especially risky for a team still finding its footing with a new coaching staff, as the new regime might have a different evaluation of players compared to the previous front office. For example, restructuring DJ Moore could save significant cap space this year, but if Burton or Donai outperform him, the Bears might want to move on. If the restructuring is done, cutting Moore the following year would still leave dead money on the cap. So restructuring is a calculated risk and requires confidence that the player will be a key part of the team's future. Regarding potential trades, there has been speculation about the Bears pursuing Trey Hendrickson. Even without restructuring anyone, the Bears could still afford his cap hit of $16 million, but they'd have to shuffle some money around and possibly extend Hendrickson's contract to lower the immediate cap hit. Similar to what they did with Joe Thuney. So trading for Hendrickson remains an option, though it's not necessarily a move expected to happen soon. It seems more likely the Bears might make a trade deadline move for a pass rusher if the season is progressing well. If Caleb Williams and the offense show promise, the front office could look to add a defensive chess piece like they did when they acquired Montez Sweat a few years ago. For now, though, any big moves appear to be on hold until the team has a clearer sense of where they stand. That's the current picture of the Bears' salary cap and how the front office is balancing contracts, rookies, and possible moves to keep the team competitive while managing financial flexibility. Continuing from where we left off, the Bears' front office is clearly walking a tightrope when it comes to managing their salary cap. They have to juggle the development of young talent, like Caleb Williams, while ensuring they don't handcuff themselves financially by committing too heavily to veteran players whose production might decline. The smart structuring of contracts for their interior linemen is a prime example of this strategy, allowing flexibility and minimizing dead money, which is critical for a team still trying to find its competitive identity. One key element that stands out is how the Bears are prioritizing keeping a healthy amount of cap space going into the season. Having roughly $10 million available after signing the second-round picks isn't a huge luxury, but it's enough to make some meaningful additions if the right opportunity presents itself. In today's NFL, depth is vital, and injuries are a part of the game, so having that financial wiggle room means the Bears can respond quickly to unexpected challenges. Whether it's signing a depth player to the practice squad or picking up a free agent to bolster a position group, that cap space can make a real difference over the course of a long season. The potential to restructure a contract like DJ Moore's also factors heavily into how aggressive the Bears might be in the coming months. Restructures can provide a short-term relief, but they come with the inherent risk of limiting future flexibility. If Moore, or any player restructured, don't perform up to expectations, the Bears could find themselves stuck with the money on the cap that hampers their ability to make moves down the line. This balancing act is something all teams wrestle with, but it's especially tricky for a franchise that is still building around a rookie quarterback and a relatively young roster. Meanwhile, the idea of trading for Trey Hendrickson remains a topic of conversation among Bears fans and analysts. While the salary cap situation doesn't outright prevent the Bears from pursuing him, the team would have to be creative with contract structure and possibly deal with extensions that shift money into future years. At this stage, it feels more like a wait-and-see approach rather than a guaranteed acquisition. The Bears seem content to assess how the defense performs with the current roster before making a big splash, especially given that Hendrickson's cap hit is one of the larger ones on the market. Looking beyond Hendrickson, the Bears might be targeting pass rushers in a more measured way. Acquiring a high-impact edge rusher at the trade deadline, as they did with Montez Sweat in the past, is a strategy that fits the current outlook. It allows the team to gauge the season's progress and make an informed decision on whether the roster needs an injection of talent on defense. This approach minimizes risk and preserves cap flexibility during the off-season and early parts of the campaign. On the offensive side, Caleb Williams' rookie contract remains a crucial factor in the Bears' cap planning. His relatively low salary compared to veteran quarterbacks gives the team financial breathing room to invest in other key areas like the offensive line and skill positions. Developing Williams without the burden of a hefty cap hit allows the Bears to build a balanced roster around him. This is essential for a team aiming to create sustainable success, as it provides the foundation to support the quarterback and maximize the offense's potential under head coach Ben Johnson's system. The Bears' current situation also highlights the importance of patience and strategic planning. They are not in a position to make blockbuster moves recklessly, nor should they rush to extend players without clear evidence that those players are a part of the long-term plan. This measured approach reflects an understanding that the team is still in a rebuild phase, even with promising pieces like Williams and the young offensive line. Every contract, every signing, and every trade has to be watched carefully with an eye toward how it fits into the bigger picture over the next few years. It's also worth noting how the front office's philosophy impacts the way contracts are structured across the roster. There is a clear preference for clean, straightforward deals without excessive gimmicks like multiple void years, which can complicate cap management down the road. This conservative stance on contract design indicates a desire to avoid cap pitfalls that have hampered other teams in the past. The Bears seem intent on building a foundation that can support success both now and in the future, rather than chasing quick fixes that might create problems later. As the off-season progresses and the Bears finalize their roster, fans should expect a few minor moves that fit within the current cap constraints. These will likely be targeted additions that complement the existing roster rather than sweeping changes. Whether through free agency, trades, or strategic roster cuts, the focus will be on improving the team while maintaining financial flexibility. The ability to adapt and respond to how the season unfolds will be key for the Bears as they look to take the next step in their rebuild. Ultimately, the salary cap picture the Bears face is a reminder of the complexities involved in building a competitive NFL team. It's not just about signing big-name players or making headline trades, it's about smart money management, careful roster construction, and planning for both immediate needs and future growth. The decisions made now will set the tone for how the Bears navigate the coming years, especially with a young quarterback like Caleb Williams at the center of their hopes for sustained success. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Chicago Bears. And don't be shy, drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Whispers are stirring in the NFL world after Chicago Bears head coach Ben Johnson made a surprising comparison that has caught the attention of fans and analysts alike. In a recent interview, Johnson hinted at the immense potential of his young quarterback, Caleb Williams, suggesting that the Bears' rising star could one day be mentioned in the same breath as some of the greatest legends the league has ever seen. Johnson's comments, though carefully worded, have sparked a wave of speculation. The coach didn't outright claim Williams was destined for the Hall of Fame, but his praise was clear, assessing Williams a rare talent. Someone who not only commands the field with exceptional skill but also carries the leadership and work ethic that define the NFL's ultimate grades. For a coach in his early tenure with the Bears, such a praise for a rookie or second-year quarterback is nothing short of bold. Caleb Williams, who joined the Bears amid expectations, has shown flashes of brilliance since arriving. His agility, accuracy, and poise under pressure have already drawn comparisons to quarterbacks who have left a lasting mark on the game. However, NFL insiders caution that while potential is promising, it takes years of consistency, resilience, and championships to truly ascend to legendary status. The Bears themselves have been eager for a franchise quarterback to lead their offense and elevate the team's fortunes. Williams' early performances have injected hope into a fanbase hungry for success. Johnson's analogy to NFL legends, whether it was meant as a motivational boast or a genuine forecast, has only amplified that hope. It's rare to see a coach so openly project such lofty expectations this early, which fuels the rumors that Chicago might be ready to build its future entirely around Williams. But as with any budding star, the road ahead is fraught with challenges. The NFL is unforgiving, and the pressure on young quarterbacks is immense. The comparison to legends like Joe Montana, Tom Brady, or Peyton Manning, names often whispered in conversations about Williams, can quickly turn into a double-edged sword. Fans and critics alike will be watching closely to see if it can live up to Johnson's lofty endorsement. In the meantime, the Bears organization appears committed to surrounding Williams with the tools he needs to succeed. Whether Johnson's remarks were an attempt to spark a new era of Bears dominance or simply an expression of genuine belief in his quarterback's capabilities, the ripple effect is undeniable. The NFL rumor mills are buzzing, and one thing is clear, Caleb Williams is now firmly in the spotlight, with expectations mounting on his shoulders. As the season progresses, all eyes will be on Williams and the Bears. Can this young talent transform promise into legacy? Ben Johnson's provocative comparison has set the stage for a captivating story, one that might just redefine the future of the Chicago Bears and perhaps the NFL itself. The buzz is real, the stakes are high, and the question remains, is Caleb Williams the next NFL legend in the making? That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Chicago Bears, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.